In this video, I'm going to rank every fuzz pedal I've ever had. It's going to be hard for me, but I'm just going to do it. I'm going to rank the fuzz pedals by putting them into tiers. So for starters, let's talk about what my tiers are, starting at the bottom. The lowest tier is called low. This is for pedals that I had that I sold. Up from low is mid. This is fuzz pedals I have that I didn't sell. This is like the beginning of good. This is fuzz pedals I like. Up from mid is high. High tier is pedals I really like. The definition of really like is that I've either used it on a record or I put it on my pedal board. And put it on my pedal board, I guess that really means like I've gigged with it or performed with it. Above high is ultra tier. The ultra tier is for pedals that I think are like secret weapons of mine, or any piece of gear that I feel like I've kind of developed a signature sound with it. Like stuff that I think is sort of crucial for sounds I get that I consider my most personal, this is what I sound like type of stuff. Gear that I have that relationship with is in the ultra tier. And then within each tier, everything is also ranked. So like when I show the graph paper with all the pedals on it, the further left in the tier a pedal is, the higher it is in that tier. And then the last thing is that the order that I talk about these pedals in is just a random order I made up that I thought would make for a good video. So let's go. The first pedal I'm going to talk about is the Keeley Dark Side. This is a pedal that has a few different sounds in it, like including delay and including various modulation things in addition to the fuzz. This goes in the mid tier. I like every sound it makes. I like the fuzz sound it makes. My favorite thing it does is some of the delay sounds. You can get like a multi-head delay sound from it that can be rhythmically pretty hip. And at high feedback, the way it kind of like washes itself out, I really like. That's my favorite thing about this pedal, not the fuzz sound. I also like the fuzz sound. I haven't used the fuzz sound on a record yet. I've used the delay sound without the fuzz. I could use the fuzz sound. It's a good fuzz sound. I just haven't used the fuzz sound on a record yet, so it's going in the mid tier, and I'm going to put it in the middle of the mid tier. I have a whole separate video about this where you can see the different sounds I get out of it, including one way to goose the fuzz sound that I think is pretty cool. I could totally see myself using that someday. I just haven't yet. So this is in the mid tier and it's like in the middle of it. Next, I want to talk about the Dirt transmitter from Earth-quaker Devices. This is high tier because I used it on a record. In fact, I used it on my own record. I used it on a song called Sure Thing on the first Cyber Attack album.
If you know the ending, please let me in on the mystery.
I actually don't have it because they had it at the studio. The engineer gave it to me. He was like, why don't you try this? I like it. It's a really cool fuzz. I think it might be out of production now, which is too bad because it's a cool fuzz. It sounds good, but you can also use it specifically to get like starved battery sounds, like a battery that's running low and is starting to glitch out the fuzz. This pedal is like can artificially reproduce that if you want to. So it's a cool fuzz. I used it on a record, so it's automatically high tier. The fact that I don't have it limits how much I can use it, though. It was just I used it at the studio and it was great. I haven't really used it since then. Every once in a while, I think about getting one. But there's like a bazillion other fuzz pedals I have, and I just end up using those instead of getting one of this. So it's high tier because I put it on a record, but it's going to be sort of towards the back of high tier just because like I'm limited on how much I can use it, even though I like it. Next is the Stonk Box from Benson. I love this fuzz. In fact, I think this is like the most beautiful fuzz I'm probably going to talk about in this video. Like, not all fuzz sounds are beautiful, and I like many fuzz sounds that have no beauty at all. But if you ever want one that is beautiful, I think this is the most beautiful one. But this is going to be one of the heartbreaking parts of this video because I haven't put this on a record yet. Like, I fully expect to. Like, I have no doubt that it's ready to, like, get on the field. That just That day has just not come yet. And so by my own rules, I'm forced to put this in mid-tier. I really, in my heart of hearts, do not think of this as like a mid-tier pedal. This is like shooing for high, and yet I haven't used it on a record yet. So it's got to be in mid, and it's at the top of mid. Next, we're going to talk about the Boss FZ1W. I had this and I sold it, so it goes low tier. Why did I sell it? It's not because I don't think it sounds good. It's not even because I don't like it. I think it's a good pedal, and above all, I think it's a great value. But the things about it that make it valuable are actually a little bit worthless to me. It sounds more harsh than I mean it to. But what I mean is, like, I think the two best things about the Fuzz, the Boss FZ1 Fuzz, is that it doesn't cost very much money for what it can do. And it's like a quick and easy fuzz to use that can get a decent range of sounds with like not a lot of advanced tweaking. Those are like the two things that make this pedal very valuable. But I don't really need either of those things particularly because I didn't pay for it and I didn't pay for any of the pedals in this video. They were all given to me for free from my YouTube channel. In fact, they weren't just given to me for free. I was paid to make videos with them. Does that screw up my ability to talk about this stuff? Honestly, do I have a conflict of interest here? You got to decide. How this affects your judgment of me is something you got to figure out. It's your judgment. You can decide whatever you want. I'm just giving you the facts. So I didn't pay for the Boss FZ1W. I didn't pay for basically any of the fuzz pedals I'm going to talk about today. So the fact that the Boss FZ1 is a good price, like, that's cool, but that doesn't really mean anything to me. And then the fact that it's like a small enclosure, it's only got 3 knobs and a mode switch, and from all those controls, you can very quickly get a lot of different good-sounding fuzz sounds. I don't really need that either because I have a stupid number of fuzz pedals. You know what I mean? I don't need one pedal that's like got a decent amount of range for what it can do. I just have a stupid number of fuzz pedals. I can pick the one I need. So I sold the Boss FZ1, and therefore I'm obligated to put it in low tier. I think it's an awesome pedal. I think it's like a marvel of technology that Boss was able to make a fuzz pedal that cost that much in that small a box, and yet it's low. By the way, if you really want to judge my integrity, the other thing you got to know is that I have affiliate links that'll give me a small commission on anything you buy. So if you want to buy any of the fuzz pedals in this video, or if you want to buy any music gear, I've got affiliate links you can use, and I'll put them in the video description. Money. All right, what do we have next? By the way, I'm using an index card for this. How cool is that? When's the last time you saw an index card? Okay, next we have the Big Muff from Electro-Harmonix. This is actually the one fuzz pedal I did pay for. I got it a long time ago. I bought it from Rogue Music in Midtown Manhattan. This is probably my favorite fuzz. This is probably my favorite fuzz pedal. I think it can basically cover all the bases. It can sound awesome and heavy. It can do the sort of glitchy or fucked up thing. Recording out of this fuzz pedal was a very early breakthrough for me in my understanding of like recording and what you can do with sound and what you can do with unusual sounds. The Big Muff Fuzz recorded direct, that was like an important event in my development as a musician. So it's been on pedal boards. I've recorded with it. I've had a song that I like changed the knob colors to be cute. This is high tier, and I'm putting it at the top of high tier. You might be thinking to yourself, well, how come it's not ultra tier? Yes, it's not ultra tier. There is one pedal I put above this because I think this is sort of just like a great fuzz pedal that does all the things I would ever want. But there's one other piece of gear that is like beyond great. But you're just going to have to wait to see what that is when I get to it. But for now, I'm putting the Big Muff at high tier, and I'm putting it at the top of high tier. Next, we have the Unpleasant Surprise from Fairfield Circuitry. This one is pretty cool. It's sort of unpredictable. Oh, this also reminds me, I should have said at the beginning of the video, there are certain things that like I'm leaving out. Like, I think this is a fuzz pedal, but There are a couple other things like Fairfield Circuitry even makes that are kind of like this, but even more bizarre, and I'm leaving those out. Stuff like the 20% more from Fairfield Circuitry, stuff that has like a heavy pitch component, like they're adding octaves or glitchifying octaves, like the 20% more from Fairfield Circuitry. Stuff that is doing PLL type sounds, like the Data Corruptor from EQD. Somewhere I had to draw the line, and I'm deciding that stuff is not just a fuzz pedal. That stuff is too weird. That's in a different category. This is probably the weirdest fuzz that's still in the fuzz category, and for that reason, I like it a lot. I don't feel like I fully understand it yet, and that's cool. I like that. I feel like if I understood it more, I might be able to use it better. The way I use it now is like if I have to get a quick, weird, cool sound for like a little throwaway thing in one of my YouTube pedal videos, usually like a one note, one finger synthesizer part that's going to be dumb and cool. Or if I'm working with like a pure oscillator sound, like a random tone generator, or somehow I got just some like weird sine wave, I don't want to make that more interesting, I'll run it through this. So I've used it in YouTube videos in that sort of way, but just being used in YouTube videos is not good enough to get to high tier. High tier belongs to gigs and real records, and I put YouTube videos at a level slightly under that. So this is in mid-tier, but it's going to be, where am I going to put it? Where do I put it in mid-tier? I'll put it towards the top. You know, maybe the Stonk Box is still kind of charismatic and beautiful and special, so it's under this, but it might be above everything else just because it is kind of weird and I feel like there's hidden depth to it. That's where that goes. All right, next I'm going to talk about the Benson Deep Sea Diver Fuzz Echo. This was a really cool pedal. There was a collaboration between Benson and the band Deep Sea Diver, and it was a fuzz and an echo in one. I think it sounded great. It could do a lot of the sounds that the Dark Side can do, especially if you like put the echo first and you kind of confuse the fuzz or like bombard the fuzz with the echoes and the feedback. That's a great sound. But I sold it, so it goes low tier. I feel bad saying I sold it because I like Benson the brand and I like Deep Sea Diver the band, and I liked what the pedal did. The reason I sold it is that I have the Benson fuzz and I have the Benson delay. I have the two pedals. So if I need to do like the thing where you get the sound of the Benson delay going into the Benson fuzz, I can just do it with the two pedals. And like the other thing is that I force myself to sell gear sometimes. Like having too many options, you know, that can kill you. Like if you have like too many choices and you're holding on to too much stuff, you know, I think sometimes you just have to force yourself to, you know, get tough and like sell some shit every now and then, you know, even just because maybe you have to do it because it is sort of painful, you know, every once in a while you just got to get tough again, you know. So I sell gear. I try to be ruthless like every 6 months and just sell some stuff. And I sold the Benson Deep Sea Diver. I'm going to put it at the top of low tier, though. I think it is, if I had to pick from all the stuff in the low tier, all the stuff I sold, if I had to pick one to have back, I guess it would probably be this. So that's where that one goes. All right, next we got the Fuzz Factory from ZVEX. I really love this pedal. I've used this on recordings. This is high tier. I love the range that this one has. It can do the glitchy sort of battery-starved thing that the Dirt transmitter can also do. One of the reasons I said before I didn't buy it, I never got around to buying a Dirt transmitter. Part of that is because I have this, and this can do that too. But it can also do a more normal, I'm just here to kill you fuzz sound that I like. So I like the range of the Fuzz Factory. It sounds great going into an amp. It also sounds great going direct. So it's high tier. In my mind, there's like two basic uses of fuzz. One is the sort of glitchy, sputtery WTF thing, and then the other is just brutal face-melting distortion, like the Smashing Pumpkins thing. And I love both of those. And in my mind, there's like a holy trinity of fuzz pedals where like these three can sort of give you those two things. This is sort of a strained analogy here, but just stick with me. I kind of feel like there's the glitchy thing that this can do great. There's the beautiful thing that the Stonk Box can do great. And then there's like this sort of place in between them, which is sort of how I see the Big Muff. And I feel like those three fuzzes sort of encircle what the purpose of fuzz is in my mind. And like those three pedals are kind of like my three guys, you know? The fact that I had to put the Stonk Box in a lower tier than the other two, and so that it's outranked by everything else on height, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? That's just a stupid fact we got to live with because I made rules about the tiers, and I refuse to violate my own rules. You know what I mean? Judge me how you will for that. Next, we got the Chroma Console. This is a really fancy pedal that can do a bazillion different things, and there is a fuzz sound in it. I think the fuzz sound sounds good, and I think this pedal is bananas, and I love it. And I have it, and I still use it. So it's mid-tier. Like, the fact that I have it, I'm holding it up. I have it. It's mid-tier. I've never used the fuzz on a record, so that's why it's only mid-tier. I think the fuzz sounds good, but I don't think of this as a fuzz pedal. There's other things this can do that I think are more exciting and also sort of more specialized and more interesting to me. There's a pitch shifter in it, but there's also a secondary control to like govern the instability of the pitch shift, and I think that's really cool. There's a tremolo sound in this where you can also introduce some like random fluctuations to the tremolo. I think that's awesome. I use this pedal for those reasons. You can get cool sounds where the fuzz is part of it, but I end up really sort of putting clean signals through this more. I don't come to it for the fuzz. The other thing is like it's got secondary parameters. You have to calibrate it to the strength of your input signal. You know, it's sort of a lot of work for a fuzz sound, and I've got other fuzz sounds that I love. In some ways, it's sort of like the opposite of the Boss FZ1, where like one of the virtues of that pedal is that it's like kind of a no-brainer pedal. This is like the opposite of a no-brainer, which I respect. But I just don't think of the fuzz thing it can do as like the most exciting thing about it. So it's going to be mid-tier, and it's going to be lower in mid-tier for that reason. Next, we're going to talk about the Pardoner fuzz from Old Blood Noise Endeavors. This is a really cool fuzz that I like a lot that can be glitchy or cool, and I sold it, so it's low tier. Why did I sell it? I mean, you know, you might be sick of hearing me say this, but like I have a bunch of really good fuzz pedals that I love, and I don't need all of them, so I had to sell some of them, so I sold this one. I think in another reality where I had gotten it earlier in my life, where it had been invented earlier in my life, I think I just would have loved it, and I would have used it again and again and again, and I would have had fun with the ways it can be normal and the ways it can be weird. I think it easily could have replaced what the Big Muff means to me if I just started with it, but I didn't. So I kissed it goodbye, and I sold it. Next, we're going to talk about the Attack Decay from Electro-Harmonix. This has a fuzz in it. But the big thing this pedal can do is even without the fuzz, you can just mess with the onset and the release of your notes. And that's the most exciting thing about this pedal to me. This pedal is mid-tier in the same way that the Keeley Darkside and the Chroma Console are mid-tier fuzz pedals. They've got other stuff they do that is the reason why I have them and the reason why I care about them. And the fuzz sounds they can make are cool, but that's just like not the main thing. So I'm putting this in mid-tier. I'm going to put it towards the bottom of mid-tier just because I have a whole separate Electro-Harmonix fuzz, the Big Muff. That's where I would go for that. Next is the 900 from Fairfield Circuitry. This is a really cool fuzz, and I used it on a record, so it's high tier. I used it on a cover of Video Killed the Radio Star that I recorded with my friend Teddi Gold. We made a whole EP together called Pixels and Ponies that I'm really proud of. It's super glitchy, super major key, super bright, bizarre pop music. I put a solo on every song we did. I mean, it meant a lot to me that Teddy and John, my friends who made that with me, were cool with having solos on like every single song we did. And I used different gear on every solo. And we also covered, one of the songs is our cover of Video Killed the Radio Star, and I used this on that. So it's high tier, because I used it on record, I used it on that. I have to put it somewhere in high tier, and I'm going to put it at the bottom of high tier. It's high, I like it. Why is it at the bottom of high tier? What can I tell you? High tier is very competitive, and I guess I feel like I'm still thinking of cool ways to use this. Like I feel like I haven't fully developed its full potential yet. I think there are other sounds I could get out of it. Just some sort of, there's this like place where this pedal crosses over from fuzz into a much more overdrive sounding edge of breakup thing. This pedal can like weirdly move through either side of that. And I feel like I have not yet fully exploited that. And when I do, this might move up higher into high tier. But for now, it's high tier. It's just at the bottom of high tier. What's left? The one pedal I put in ultra tier, and that is the Gamechanger Plasma. There's a specific sound this can do that I consider one of my all-time secret weapons. It's a sound that I also used for one of the guitar solos on the Teddi Gold EP I was talking about a second ago. There's a song called Can't Stop Me, and the solo I played on that song is one of my favorite solos I've ever recorded ever. I don't even know if I can really explain why it's one of my all-time favorites, but I feel like in the phrasing, there's like a style of jazz that I kind of was able to draw from that I was like proud of being able to do, but then it's also like not jazz at all. There's like a hostility to it that is outside of jazz. That sound is the Gamechanger Plasma. I'm recording direct out of it. I had some slapback echo on it, and I was using the tone controls on this to get that kind of like weakened state that I think is cool. The tone controls on this are extremely powerful. Like, it's an awesome pedal that has a unique thing that it does, but of all the pedals I have in any class, the tone controls on this, I think, are like especially powerful. Okay, so that sound that I used on that Teddi Gold thing, that's one of my favorite things I've ever done. I plan to use it more. After I recorded that solo, it actually made me wish that I had used that sound on more solos earlier on more records. So that's like a weird feeling to have. But all I can do with that feeling is say, well, I'm just going to use it more in the future. But every time I do, I feel like that's one of my specialties, that sound. You could try to rip it off if you want. I'm not too worried about that, because I feel like a big part of what I did with it was also the phrasing and the playing. And I'm less worried about people being able to rip off that part of it. So I'm happy to share my secrets. The Gamechanger Plasma pedal is a secret weapon that now is not really so secret anymore. I also have a whole separate video about this where I talk about the many other different things it can do apart from this one sound. And it was one of the earliest pedal videos I ever made. So if you go back through my channel and you look at the video I made for the Plasma pedal, it's going to look and feel kind of different. That was from the very early days of me making pedal vids, but you might get a kick out of it. Anyway, that's my video. Thanks for watching.